Alright, since the last video I heat treated the blade. I also made a little brass spacer here which kind of goes on and it'll create a nice little brass accent. I carved the inside of the handle. These were two separate pieces. Well, actually it was the same piece that I used a saw and cut down the length, and then I chiseled out one side of it so that it fits the tang. So now I have to, the surface right here isn't, you can see the spine is still sticking out there, but I need to adjust the angle of this face here so that it matches up perfectly with the guard. One of the design elements of this blade that I'm really excited about is this tenon construction on the back. Usually things like Japanese weapons, they have the little bamboo peg that goes in the handle and you can't see the tang at all. But with this one, the tang goes all the way through the handle, and then let me get the back bolster. Oh, there it is. And then this bolster here kind of has that piece that line that runs across, and once the tang is through this, it has this hole here. Light will be driven through this hole. I mean, not forcefully, but it's going to be, you know, firmly pressed through, and that'll create enough pressure to keep the whole handle together. I marked with a pencil the angle that I need to be cutting at, and also a line that goes straight across. So hopefully once I get this cut all the way, it will be really close to matching up with the bolster. Alright. Pretty clean cut. I don't think it's as even as I would like, but I'm gonna see how it fits up regardless. Right. Whoa, actually that's good. I just have to do some minimal sanding to get it fit the rest of the way. Now comes the tricky part, because I have to cut the other side of this handle so that it just clears that hole, and that's going to be kind of hard to do because the butt plate has its own kind of angle, and it needs to be cut just so that the hole is above the or the hole in the tang is just out of this butt plate. Alright, here's the front that I just cut, and here's the back that I need to cut. So I'm going to get my mechanical pencil out. 0.5mm lead is really nice to use because it's really accurate. So I'll put it just about where it's going to go in the end. About there. Well, actually first I need to mark where the back of the bolster is, because that's where I'm going to cut to. So I want it to be about there, and I'll mark that line on the tang. I don't know if any of this is showing up on camera like the pencil marks, but hopefully you can see it. So I'm going to mark two lines here. Alright. I hope that was good. Let's try it out. So, blade is going up through here. Oh good, the vise isn't interfering, that's nice. Okay, and then bolster will go there. Cool. Alright, so I marked out where the bolsters are, and then I'm going to give it some leeway on each side, and I'm just going to saw down the length here. So now this saw has two sides. This one is a cross cut, which is finer, and then this one is used to cut with the grain. So this is with the grain, so I'm going to use the bigger teeth. And when starting, you just put your fingernail just to the side of where you want to start the cut. And take some short draws, and then once you get started, you're ready to go. So I got this lined up here, and now what I'm going to do is trace the handle shape on this and then cut away some of the excess, so it's going to be kind of a blocky form of what I want. Alright, so I kind of cut it at a safe distance here, and now I'm going to take a little scabbard carving chisel and then knock out these wooden blocks. There we go. So at this point, I can go ahead and take my rasp file, or I guess saw rasp. These things are really nice. They're pretty much interwoven bandsaw blades. They're not quite bandsaw blades though. They're more than that. They're like specifically designed for wood use. And you have a rough side and a smooth side. So I'm gonna start with the rough here. Okay. I'm going to do the back. So that's kind of the basic shape right there. Now I'm going to work on the thickness on each side. This one I got dangerously close with. I kind of messed up with the saw, and I had to file down the butt cap a little bit to match it again. So that's kind of nerve-wracking. But as long as I kind of stay safe and keep in the spaces that I need to, then it's going to be fine. Now I'm going to take my little Kiridashi marking knife, or really it's a nice woodworking blade because it's chisel ground, and I'm just going to trim the very ends near the pencil mark. And if you just get really close and then you're working on the handle, you know not to even touch the this area, and you give yourself a little bit of space just in case you mess up. So it's going to be the fine rasp from now on because the rough one is too rough. Yeah, I think once I get the corners knocked off of this, it's going to feel really good in hand. So I sanded the handle and brought it up to a 600 grit, and then I coated the handle in oil and then sanded it with the 600 with oil. And what that does is that all the dust that's created from sanding it while it's oiled will actually settle inside the little pores in the walnut. So once I do that enough, it'll create more of like a smooth surface, giving it a better shine. Overall, I think this is going to be a great blade. All I have to do is blacken the bolsters again by getting them up to, you know, red hot, and then polishing up the bevel. I'm debating whether or not I should soak this in vinegar again, because I kind of like the black forged finish here. I think I'm going to keep the black forged finish, but the handle feels really nice, and I'm glad that this whole idea could work with the wedge in the back.